Good morrow, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Lara, and this is a Scream video. As I said in my intro, this is a Scream video. More specifically, today I'm going to be talking about Scream 5. But I'm not alone. I have a special guest. The special guest is Cliff, and you may have heard me talk about him And you may have heard me discuss him in the Ice 9 Kills VIP video that I posted way back in January. Like me, he's a huge Scream fan and a huge Ice 9 Kills fan, so we decided to do this video together. Before I get started, I will be posting more Breonna Taylor links down in the description, so please definitely check out the description once we're done with this video. And also, this video is going to look a little different just because of the formatting and bringing another person into the video and stuff. So this is how the video is actually going to look. Like this. I'm going to be in this little box, and I'm going to have these walls beside of me, just so that the two videos match up a little more. But you'll see what I mean once we jump into the questions. Before I jump into the questions, let's talk the basics for Scream 5. First off, if you haven't heard, surprise, surprise, we're going to have a Scream 5. That's right, a 5th installment to the Scream franchise. I'm so excited for this. As you might know, I love Ghostface. You're my lovely little ghosts after all. Scream is literally my favorite franchise, and I'm super hype. I'm absolutely super hype for a new Scream movie. And to let you know right now, I'm excited. So, as we jump into these questions and discussing it, just go into it knowing that I'm excited, and I think it's going to be amazing. That being said, I'm going to come back with final thoughts, but for right now, let's jump into some questions. So the biggest new news drop that has come to our attention is that Dewey is 100% confirmed for the new movie. Amazing. Can't wait to know what's happened to Dewey in these last few years. Alrighty, question time. So the first question is, what do you think about bringing Dewey back? What do you think about them having the unkillable back again? The absolutely unkillable Dewey. What do we think about him being part of Scream 5?
I'm a big fan on bringing his character back. I always liked Dewey in all the original films, so I'm on board with bringing back as many of the original characters as possible.
Absolutely. I am absolutely on board with them bringing back as many people as possible. As many originals as possible. I love the idea of Dewey coming back for the story. I'm really excited to know his role in the movie, and I'm really excited to know what happened with him and Gale. So while I'm on the subject of Gale and Dewey, let's throw Sydney into the mix. What do we think the future holds for our beloved final three?
Like I said, I was a big fan of bringing back as many of the original characters as they possibly can. But in all reality, it might sound crazy, but I think some of the original characters need to die in this movie, whether it be Dewey, Sydney, or even Gale, just to kind of reboot the franchise in the future. I think some of these characters may need to die off in this film.
You know, I completely agree with that. Sometimes enough really is enough, and out of the final three, I think they might lean towards Gale being the one. And I have this whole, Scream conspiracy theory in my brain about if they chose Gale to be the one that was murdered. But we'll get to that at the end of this video, but just stick a pin in it for right now, and we'll get back to it, because I do think that if one of the final three dies, it will be Gale. And I think if any of the final three survive, it will be Sydney, and maybe not Dewey, which plays into my theory. So, we'll get there. While we're on the subject of bringing back characters and all of that, do we really think that we're just going to see the final three, or are they going to bring back other characters from other movies or from the original? Will some other characters be part of that rather than just the final three? What are our thoughts on that?
unless there's any characters that they're going to somehow bring back from supposedly being dead, I don't really know what other characters could come back. So I don't know. I would love, obviously, to see Stu. I know there's some rumors that he wanted to be in this movie, but I have no idea how they could bring him back to having him in the film.
Okay, hear me out with this one. I see what you're saying with Stu, and I love Matthew Lillard with all of my heart, so I have a way that this could work. You know how in the second movie we get a glimpse of Matthew Lillard in the background? His hair is different, and it was because he was dating someone on set, but what if that small glimpse of Matthew Lillard was actually Stu's twin brother that we didn't know about? I mean, it's horror movies. We have those kind of twists all the time. Oh, that's actually Sydney's brother. That kind of thing. So what if Stu had a twin brother and he's been plotting this whole time behind the scenes and is the mastermind behind it all? That would be a way to bring him back. And to go along with that, what if Randy faked his own death? And what if Randy was actually the mastermind behind it all? That would be an amazing way to bring Jamie Kennedy back. And I know that he loves the franchise and would probably be totally on board for coming back. Actually, there's a tweet that Jamie Kennedy sent out, and if I can find it, I'll pop it in right here. What if Randy's not dead? Just basically was like, what if Randy is the mastermind behind it all? And I loved that, and I stand by that, and I think it would be amazing. So, in my mind, it could totally be canon. They just have to make it so. As for the other films, the only other character that I would love to see come back would be Kirby. Because her death wasn't, finalized. She was just, stabbed kind of in the gut, but kind of not, and left. And we never heard anything else about Kirby. So, Kirby back for revenge would be a nice thing. However, the actress that plays Kirby just finished up her run on the show Nashville, last year or the year before, when I think it was last year, and is rumored to not be acting anymore. So as far as the 3 big stretches, that was a yawn stretch. But it's still possible, right? The same could also be said for Cotton, who was killed off screen, and he was killed at the very beginning, so we could possibly have Cotton come back and be have it be a side character kind of thing. So many options. None of this is confirmed, this is just me speculating, but I think it's an option. I think they'd be fun options, and who doesn't love Matthew Lillard? Anywho, back to the talk about Neve. We've heard that Neve Campbell has had, quote, a lot to say about the direction that the script is going. So, do we think that she's put her foot down with some Sydney decisions, and if so, what?
It's really hard to say with her character, depending on how much they've talked to her about being in this film, or how they would be doing her character development, so it's really hard to say on that question.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of hard to speculate with that one, but I'm thinking maybe they wanted Sydney to be the killer and Neve put her foot down. I think if her having a lot to say says anything about her character development at all, maybe they pitched the idea that Sydney's the killer and Neve was like, that's not Sydney. Because it's just not in Sydney's character development to go through everything she's been through and then in the 5th movie become the killer. It just makes no sense. Unless they do like they've been doing with other horror reboots, where they take the original movie, ignore everything else, and then make this one a sequel by naming it The Scream or The Ghostface, and making it a direct from the first one to this one. But I just don't see them doing that with Scream. Scream is a different thing all in its own. So I don't see that being a thing, but I do see how if they proposed Sydney being the killer, Neve would have been like, don't really think that's Sydney. So with Scream 4, which I just mentioned a little bit ago, we get to see a lot of parallels. A lot of the deaths that happen in Scream 4 are almost perfect reverse parallels to the deaths that happened in the original film. The way that they're executed is kind of flipped, and I wonder, are we going to see those kind of parallels again?
It's hard to say with a new director, so I don't know if they would do parallels as they did. Me personally, I would like to see something totally new.
Something new does seem like a really good direction to go. We have different technology, which they use to their advantage in Scream 4. So, to me, it would make sense for them to have new ways to die, basically. And you mentioned the new directors. So I'll take this moment to discuss the new directors. The new directors are the directors of the horror film Ready or Not, which was a horror comedy that recently was released. And it's honestly brilliant. So I can totally see those directors doing Scream justice. So that being said, do you think the directors of Ready or Not are ready for the challenge of Scream? Do you think they'll do Scream 5 justice?
I was a big fan of Ready or Not. I thought it did really well at capturing the somewhat of goriness and still being humorous, which is exactly what Scream always had been. Had the gory factor to it, but it always tried to be somewhat funny and humorous at the same time. So if I could think of a film that would make me think a director could do Scream justice, it would be the Ready or Not director.
If anyone can do it, they can. They were a perfect choice for a Scream movie. I think the memory of Wes Craven will live on in Scream 5. And also Kevin Williamson has given his blessing to the script. Like, flat out said it definitely holds up to Wes's vision, and it's something that Scream fans are gonna love. So, last time we saw Gale and Dewey was Scream 4, of course, because that was the last film. I wonder what's happened with Gale and Dewey since Scream 4. By the time Scream 5 comes out, it will have been exactly 10 years since we saw By the time that Scream 5 comes out, it will be exactly 10 years since we last saw Gale and Dewey. However, sometimes Hollywood likes to stretch timelines, and we might see them 16 years later. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch to put an extra 6 years on there just so we can get a new plot device. But I'm gonna throw this question over to you first, and then I'll come back to it.
In my gut, for some reason, I feel like if they were going to write it in the direction it would need to go, that there may be a possibility that they both separated at this point. Because I've always loved the idea of Dewey being the third killer in the Scream movies, and I think if they were going to go that direction with the fifth film, it would make sense to maybe have them separated and possibly even have him kill Gale.
It's exactly where my brain was going. Exactly. There is a conspiracy theory around the Scream films that say Dewey's been behind it all the whole time. Because, yes, he did get wounded really bad in the first movie, but if you think about it, there's been many, many chances where he could have died, but instead, he was not fatally wounded. And he never really seems bothered by the fact that his sister was killed. Which is probably just a little flaw in the writing, deleted scenes and all of that. I know there's a deleted scene somewhere. But, ignoring that, Dewey's sister was murdered in the first movie. And he never mentions her. He never really says anything about her. To me, that's weird. Especially for a horror film that could totally play off of that. It's strange. And the big climax in Scream 5 could easily be Dewey's been the killer the whole time. Let me go a little deeper into that with, say it's been 16 years instead of 10. Say Dale and Gooey. Say Gale and Dewey had a 16-year-old son or daughter. So stick a pin in that. There's a 16-year-old. Okay. Gale and Dewey's daughter. Stick a pin. Gale, in the opening scene, much like Cotton, comes up dead. Gale's dead. No more Gale. Which is why we don't have Courtney Cox confirmed, but we have Dewey confirmed, and we've heard talks about Neve. So, Gale's dead. Dewey's distraught, and Sydney returns to her hometown to investigate Gale's murder. The plot for Scream 5 that has been released as of now is a woman returns to her hometown to investigate a murder. So, say that woman is Sydney, which I think they would have told us if it was Sydney, or the 16-year-old daughter investigating her mother's murder. Lots of suspects. Even Sydney could be a suspect, especially if she lives in Woodsboro. But then Sydney starts trying to help her, reluctantly tries to help her because Gale was a friend, and maybe Dewey's missing. Maybe he doesn't turn up until later on. Maybe Dewey fakes his death too. Maybe they thought Gale and Dewey were together, but actually Dewey's been behind it all. Like, there's just so many ways that this could be twisted. And we saw with Scream 4 them bring in the teenagers and having it be the teenager story. So I can totally see them twisting that into Gale and Dewey having a daughter or son, depending on who the plot's about. But I'm just rambling about. But let's get to one of my last questions, and that is, do we think they're gonna let Ice Nine Kills be on the soundtrack, specifically Your Number's Up, or are they just crazy?
As much as I would love for Your Number's Up to be in the movie in some way, shape, or form, most of the time movies don't like to put music like that in there in any way, shape, or form. But I would certainly love for anything Ice Nine Kills to be involved in the film.
You're right. I hate that you're right, but you're right. They probably wouldn't put Your Number's Up on the soundtrack because it does have to do with Scream. It does have to do with the original Scream. However, I'm sure Spencer could knock out another Scream-themed song with no problem. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Spencer needs to write a Scream musical. I mean, we've got Heathers the musical. We've got Beetlejuice the musical. I want Spencer to write Scream the musical. I will take no other person writing this musical except him. And I think it could be done, and Your Number's Up would be the first song. But anyway, yes, I think that it's a stretch to say Your Number's Up would be on the soundtrack, but I do not think it's a stretch to say that Ice Nine Kills could do a song on the soundtrack. I think it would be amazing. It would be the next Youth of America. Like, I think they could do it, and I think they would do it very well, and I think that they'd be crazy not to let them. So let's get on that. Let's just hop on Twitter, hop on social media, and try to make that happen. Because we've still got time. They don't start filming until this fall, potentially, depending on how all the stuff going on goes. So we've got time. Let's make it happen. Let's make Ice Nine Kills on the Scream 5 Let's make Ice Nine Kills on the Scream 5 soundtrack happen. That's really hard to say. So, final thoughts on Scream 5.
I look forward to Scream 5. I've always been a big fan of the Scream franchise in general. So the fact that the film and franchise would get to continue on with a new Ghostface is something I really look forward to. I'm actually very excited for Scream 5 to be being made.
Same, so much same. I'm so ready for a new Ghostface. I'm so ready for all of it. I'm ready for Scream 5. I think it would be amazing. I would actually go to the theater to see Scream 5. And since we're on the subject of Ghostface and a new Ghostface, we're getting the original Ghostface mask. We're not getting the creepy thing that was in the MTV series. We're getting our original beautiful Ghostface mask. So, with that being said, Ghostface will look and sound like Ghostface. That's right, the amazing Roger L. Jackson will be returning as the voice of Ghostface. How cool is that? So I need to be completely clear, Scream 5 is not going to be a reboot. They've flat out said it won't be a reboot. It's going to be a 5th movie installment to the Scream franchise. Whether it's going to be a direct installment from Scream 1 to Scream 5, or whether it's going to, or if it's going to continue on for then 5, we don't know yet. But it will not be a reboot, and it will not be a reboot. It will not be the original movie made into a new movie, and it will not be, which is really good news. And finally, they say Scream 5 is coming to theaters as soon as 2021. I'm assuming sometime around the Scream anniversary. It would make sense for it to be the Scream 1 anniversary, which was December 20th. Somewhere around there would make the absolute most sense. So late fall or winter makes the most sense to me as to when they want to release the film. They haven't even started filming it yet, so they would need almost the full year. And right now they're planning on starting to film in the fall, which would give them a solid year plus a few months to get Scream 5 out there. So to me, totally makes sense. I don't want it to be rushed, so I hope that if they don't get to start filming right away, they won't rush it and get it done anyway. Maybe they'll push the release back. Maybe they'll take more time with it. I really don't want it to be rushed. I don't want it to be cut short. I don't want anything that Kevin Williamson has already seen to be cut out. But I have total faith that when it does finally happen, it'll happen flawlessly. And I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to see the final 3. I'm excited for all of it. So all in all, those are my final thoughts for Scream 5. I'm really, really excited for it. I love the Scream franchise so much, and I just can't wait for next year when it comes out. I'm actually going to go to a theater, and I don't go to theaters. But if theaters are a thing, and it comes out in a theater, totally going to go see it. So I'm optimistic that things will continue to go as planned, that they'll start filming this fall, and that we will get a movie next year. So here's hoping, and I will keep you updated on Scream 5 related news. So a special thank you to my special guest. So happy to have you on. So happy that you joined me for this. So for the comments down below, I want you to tell me who your favorite Scream character is. And if you don't talk to me about Scream in the comments, talk to me about something. I'd prefer if you talk to me about Scream in the comments, but I just love for you to talk to me, so please just talk to me down in the comments. Talk to me about anything. So that was me and my special guest discussing Scream 5. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. So bye. Bye.